Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel. Welcome to another NXT review. Now, guys, I know this is about a day late. I apologize. Last night was the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Happy late Independence Day to everyone who celebrated yesterday. Hope you guys had a very fun time. Didn't get your fingers blown off from any fireworks. Because, you know, fireworks, while they can be fun, they can be dangerous at the very same time. So hopefully you all are safe and okay and had a grand old time with your family at barbecues and such and such. I, however, spent my 4th of July indoors. I did not go outside at all yesterday. I shit you not. Let me explain to you why I didn't go outside yesterday. So basically, for the past week, if you guys don't know, I work outside. That's kind of one of my, I don't want to say what job I have or where I work. So basically last week, I worked 6 days straight. All those days being 8-hour shifts outside. And if you guys live on the East Coast, you will know that we were going through a heat wave. And some days were 90 degrees. Some days were 93 degrees. 2 days, being on Saturday and Sunday of last week, were 95 and 97 degrees. With a high humidity making it feel like 100 plus degrees outside. And I worked for 8 hours out in that heat. So imagine being outside in the blistering heat for hours upon end, coming back home, sleeping, and then going right back out to the heat the next day for 6 days. So by the time I got to the 4th of July, which I was off, I was so exhausted and so done with the heat that I just did not bother going outside at all. So I stayed inside. And, you know, I just chilled. I watched, and I did watch NXT last night. I was ready to do the review. As soon as I got ready and geared up, what happened? Fireworks started going off. And my walls are pretty thin, so the fireworks get picked up on the microphone. And that was bothering me. So I'm like, all right, I'll just wait till they die down. So I wait about 10, 15 minutes and they died down. So I started off. 2 minutes in, fireworks start going off again. And this time they're even closer. And I'm like, what the fuck? So now I gotta wait. I wait 20 minutes. Started off again. This time, they're even close. It's like every time I tried to start, the fireworks just got closer and louder and loud. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to fucking do this. So now I wait 2 hours. It's now 11 p.m. I'm like, all right, I'm going to finally try this. I get 10 minutes into review and fireworks start going off. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to wait till tomorrow morning. So that's basically the story of why I did not review last night. But let's not wait any longer because I bet 2 minutes of this review is now just me explaining why I didn't review at all. So the show started off with Dakota Kai. This is a really good episode of NXT, mind you. So the episode started off with Dakota Kai versus Santana Garrett, who we have not seen since the Mae Young Classic. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe Santana Garrett was on an episode of NXT that I did not see. But from what I remember, I haven't seen Santana Garrett since the Mae Young Classic. And from what I remember, she was actually really good in that tournament. So, I was pretty excited to see her. I think her gimmick was that she was Superwoman or something. I don't remember. But this was a pretty nice match between Dakota Kai and Santana Garrett. They locked up in the very beginning. Had a nice little beginning sequence. Battled for a few minutes. Dakota Kai won with her Yakuza kicks. Followed it up with her new finisher, which is basically a flipping backstabber. I have no idea what she calls it or how I could describe it other than it's a flipping backstabber, I guess. Not Dakota. Santana sold it like hell, which made the move look even better, even though when you look at the move, it looks like it hurts Dakota more than it hurts Santana. Dakota won the match, and yeah, that was kind of it. What was the joy seeing Dakota Kai on the show? We got a Heavy Machinery backstage workout segment. You guys know Heavy Machinery promos are usually backstage. Dozovich was talking up a storm while Tucker Knight was using a weightlifting machine. Otis started walking away when he heard a big clinging, bang sound. He ran back to Tucker Knight and he was on the ground, chain wrapped around him. And he was like, "Are you alright, Tucker?" He was going to his aid. And in a split-second view, you could see TM61 running away. And I was like, nice attention to detail there, even though it was blatantly apparent that they're running away. Like, if the camera were about, like, a few inches downward, you could probably see their feet. And that would have been a lot better than seeing their entire body. Because it's like, at that point, it's like, well, how the fuck did Otis not see them run away? It's like, but whatever. I'm not going to complain about that. After that, we got an in-ring promo from Shayna Baszler who just talked about her being champion now. Oh, you have Kairi Sane or Bianca Belair, or bring anyone, I'll beat their ass or whatever. It was a paint by numbers promo, nothing special here. And she walked out. No one interrupted her. No one came to challenge her. That was it. So I was actually shocked nothing happened. So I guess this is just for a promo package for a match against Kairi Sane, because I think that's what they're setting up to. But anyway, I think from that we got a Kairi Sane promo, but whatever. We then got another backstage promo. I was like, oh wow, this is the land of promos right now. Backstage promo from Danny Burch, because you guys don't know, Oney Lorcan got injured, I think either at TakeOver or probably at a live event after TakeOver. I think he got a ruptured eye socket or something, so he's going to be out. So Danny Burch got a promo about Oney Lorcan, his fallen partner. This is when the Undisputed Era intervened in the promo, and this led to Danny Burch challenging one of the members of Undisputed Era next week. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Roderick Strong to a match next week. We then got to the next match, The Mighty versus Otis Dojovic, who, if you guys watch any of my NXT reviews, you guys know I like to call him Mini Rhino. So, Mini Rhino came out by himself because Tucker Knight got hurt earlier in the night. I would just like to say that I really like the TM61 outfits. You guys know what TM61 looked like before they turned heel. Well, in this one, they had like black and white tights that look really cool. So I was a fan of that, even though their theme music hasn't changed. Which there's nothing wrong with them keeping the same theme music, even though it seems very babyface and uppity. Maybe a darker version of their current theme song probably would fit, but whatever. So we got this match. Otis Dojovic showed his ass, guys. He was the shit in this match. Really great showing by Otis Dojovic by himself. He took on both of those men. He was clotheslining. He threw one in the ring. Was clotheslining both of them. He had one of them on his shoulders, throwing them around. He did the worm elbow drop onto both of them. He was dominating this match by himself. And the crowd was behind him. I was behind him. That made me really think about, I guess this guy would really do good by himself. It makes you realize how entertaining this guy is without Tucker Knight. I'm just not downplaying Tucker Knight at all. Tucker Knight is pretty good. But Otis Dojovic is just really entertaining. It's almost like Enzo and Cass, The better wrestler, not by a mile, but the better wrestler is Tucker Knight. But the true entertainer here is Otis Dojovic. So I immediately look at this team as Enzo and Cass, even though I don't want to because both of those men no longer work for the company anymore. So I'm going to try to just look at them as type of machinery. Anyway, this only worked for about a good 10 minutes in the match. Team 61 got the better of Dojovic when Shane Thorne got into the ring, punched him swiftly in the back of the head, and Nick Miller pinned him, and the Mighty won the match. We then got a Bianca Belair promo as she was on her honeymoon. She was on a yacht. She was talking about how none of these women on the roster can beat me. I'm going to be the one to challenge Shayna Baszler or something. And I'm like, wow, this is like the fourth promo we got on the show. I don't have a problem with that many promos on the show, but it was more than usual. We then got to the next match. The Velveteen Dream versus Chris Dijak. I was so excited for this match. If you guys don't remember, about a few weeks ago, we got a match between Chris Dijak and Ricochet, which was a really good match. So I was excited for this one. The match is pretty good. It wasn't as good as Ricochet versus Chris Dijak. I don't think it was. But came pretty close. A lot of strikes in the very beginning from both men. Chris Dijak did a lot of talking during this match. He was like, "Where you going, little man?" And no one could stop. He was vocally just yelling during this match. Not yelling out spots or anything, but just vocally talking. Like, you guys know how, if you watch New Japan, Kenny Omega vocally just, like, talks during the match sometimes. Like, "You can't escape." Well, Chris Dijak was doing some of this, and I didn't have a problem with that. I actually thought it was pretty funny when he was doing spots like that. There was one spot where Chris Dijak had a Velveteen Dream on his shoulders for like a fireman's carry, and then put it into like a World's Strongest Slam position, or whatever that position is called. He kneed him right in the stomach and then flung Velveteen Dream out of his arms. Velveteen Dream did like a whole 360 spin in midair. It was pretty cool. Had a lot of big showing here for Chris Dijak, even though I thought, I think a lot of the showing came from his match with Ricochet when he did the moonsault and the, not the plancha, but the springboard clothesline to the ring. He didn't do any of that high-flying stuff he did in the Ricochet match. But it showed off, it's like, that match showed off his speed and agility. This match showed off his strength. So we're seeing a bit of a mix here of Chris Dijak. You're seeing what he's capable of. And that's good because it makes me want to see a lot more of Chris Dijak. I think in probably about a few months down the road, a year from now, he could be the next NXT North American champion. Maybe even NXT champion. Who knows? Anyway, the match came to an end when Velveteen Dream hit his sick-ass DDT. I don't know what he calls it, but it's a really cool DDT. It's like he positions his opponent in like a Sister Abigail type position, except he puts his arm over top of the opponent's head and just drives it forward. He does like a 180 spin and drives it forward, and then just plants it around the top of their head. And usually it's up to the opponent selling it to make it look good, and usually the opponent sells it well every single time. Chris Dijak was no exception here. Velveteen Dream hit that DDT for the pin onto Chris Dijak. We didn't get to the next the main event. EC3 cut off Velveteen Dream celebration. I was a bit upset by this, but then I realized what time it was, and I'm like, oh wow, I think NXT realized they were run for time here. They didn't realize how long they were going. Which I honestly knew that this show was going to go a bit longer because as soon as the show started, as soon as the intro started, usually you have that moment where the announcers talk to you and they explain to you what happened last week, what's going to happen this week. Well, we didn't get that. We just went straight to the Dakota Kai match. I'm like, wow, this show must be going longer than expected. And this was hit number 2 when they cut off the Velveteen Dream's celebration for EC3. And I'm like, what the fuck? A heel cut off a heel for a heel. I'm like, I guess. EC3 came out. Johnny Gargano came out. They had a match. I think, honestly, I want to say this was a good match. It was decent. I would probably say this was probably the weakest match on the show. Which isn't saying too much considering most of the matches on the show were probably either above decent or good. But Johnny Gargano, EC3, they went back and forth. Johnny Gargano showed a lot more aggression during this match, and the announcers were playing this up as like, this is the most aggression we've seen from Johnny Gargano ever. And I'm like, are you really saying ever? Are you honestly and truly... I think it was Nigel McGuinness who said, this is the most aggression I've ever seen from Johnny Gargano. I'm like, really? Have you not seen any of the 2 matches he had with Tommaso Ciampa this year? Ever? Ever. I'm like, okay. Maybe he meant to say this is the most aggressive I've seen from Johnny Gargano on NXT television. Maybe that's what he meant to say. But Johnny Gargano was being super aggressive in this match, especially towards the end when he locked in the Gargano escape on EC3. He will not let go. Referee had to count to 4. Pulled him away. Locked it in again. I believe the finish came when Johnny Gargano hit EC3 with a slingshot DDT and got the pin over EC3. Johnny Gargano celebrated and the show went off air. Good episode of NXT. If you guys have time, definitely take a look at it. It's not a must-see episode, but good nonetheless. And yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for watching this review. I wanted to keep it short because I just did not want to run over time too much, especially because I was late on this review. And I want to get straight into the Lucha Underground review. So thank you all for watching. I love you guys as always, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.